tell your dad that you're gonna work here full time. You let me know, when you can start working full time here. I'll wait for you because I saw your resume. I think you have potential. Until this day, I have no idea what he saw in me or why he put so much trust in me. I was super, super interested in everything. Like I was the, the hardest careers. That's what I liked. I liked engineering. I liked different fields of medicine. I liked foreign policy. I liked law. At the same time, I was super hyperactive in terms of sports. And when we moved to the US, I picked up fencing. Out of all sports, I picked up fencing. And part of that was that I wanted to do fencing in college as well. So of course, fencing is a sport that usually Ivy Leagues have as part of their Division One sports. So obviously, I needed perfect grades, perfect ACT, SAT scores. I was like, okay, now I want to focus on getting into the best business school with the best fencing program. So long story short, I ended up going to Notre Dame for fencing. And I was representing my country, Paraguay, in the different international competitions. So I was traveling all over the world. My senior year, I traveled pretty much all year from one place to the other to train, to compete, to do this, to that. It was like a dream come true for me. So when I went to college, I wanted the full American experience. So I went to Notre Dame 2 years. And then after the 2 years, I decided to stop fencing and go where my cousins and my sister were in college, and they were in Kansas. So I transferred over to Kansas State University to finish my degree in organizational management with an emphasis in economics and international business. I wanted to be in everything, 4.0, student government, every other extracurricular activity I could do. I fully enjoyed my college experience. And of course, I ended up, top of my class at K-State. But when I graduated, I was totally lost. So at first, my dad had a startup at the time. So I decided to work with him for a little while. And then this is where the story gets really random. Tired of looking at my dad every single day, I wanted a more social work environment. So one of the things that I applied to was to be a greeter at a dealership that was really close to my house. You're overqualified for this position. Why are you wanting to be a greeter? So I explained him this whole story of I'm working with my dad every day. I'm tired of seeing just him. I want to be with people. And he's like, no, that's not what you're gonna do. This is what I want you to do, and you tell me if you're up for it. And he starts talking about, marketing and technology of the dealership being kind of the right hand for him. Full tour of the dealership. And after a 2-hour interview, at this point it was like 3 p.m. He's like, okay, so tell your dad that you're gonna work here full time. You let me know, when you can start working full time here. I'll wait for you because I saw your resume. I think you have potential. Until this day, I have no idea what he saw in me or why he put so much trust in me. And then after a month, I started working at the same dealership that I am right now, and that I left in different moments to work at other dealerships, and then came right back here because I have an amazing relationship with the owner and the general manager. So totally random, and that's how I ended up in automotive. As for me, I'm more passionate about like numbers, data, following, the bottom line. So at first, marketing was actually really challenging for me because obviously I had like a preconception of what marketing is, and it just didn't resonate with my personality and what I was going after. But what happened, the way that it went for me is that because I wanted to understand the connections, of things and how this triggered that. And at the end of the day, I wanted to understand transactions. I had to immerse myself a lot in understanding like how the bottom line is actually affected. Marketing is necessary. It's a necessary expense. it's the way that you bring attention to make some of those transactions. So the journey for me was kind of like, so if marketing has to happen, how do we make it efficient? How do I isolate what works, what doesn't work for us? What is the best available data that I have in order to make sure that we're utilizing that money correctly? How do I try things out? Because obviously before knowing what works, I need to try different things before I understand which one is working. Is there a clear diminishing return in the spend? How do I select the vendors? What vendors are out there? Trying to understand everything, piece everything together in the beginning is what drew me back to marketing and the drawing board. And being good at the data portion is what made me good at the marketing portion, right? Managing vendors, anything marketing or technology related, negotiating contracts, be part of meetings with our GM, with the owner, with the controller, or with different managers about different processes, new OEM requirements. So you need to understand new programs, new OEM releases, new OEM requirements, adapting to the new technology, adapting the staff to the new technology. So that requires training. Then we also have to execute the marketing strategy within the first few days of the month. So that means adjusting budgets, swapping vendors, channels, deploying campaigns in YouTube, SEM, shopping ads, CTV, OTT, cable, having an e-blast schedule for your own database and for conquests. Then we also go into reviewing the strategy as the month comes along. So with Dashby, with the tool that we created internally, we start looking at foot traffic, leads, lead sources, individual and team closing percentages, gross profit per unit, service appointments, and then we start pushing programs internally, fast start, fast finish. And then after that, I'm also constantly looking at VIP experiences of different customers, because there's different, situations. So I go back into the equity mining tool. I go to the sales managers. We review pricing. I send them quotes. Even I talk to customers sometimes because I also want to be in tune with the different programs. So that's day to day, week to week. A lot of meetings, a lot of execution, because you need to have both, meeting with vendors, contracting with the correct one, negotiating the correct contract, knowing about these vendors, and then the internal processes. So it's a lot of everything. That's my position. A lot of dashboards visualize one thing or the other, but they're not interactive, or they visualize too much information that might not be actionable because maybe the general manager is not going to do it because they don't have the time. So the point of the dashboard that we created is, like, how do we have an all-in-one dashboard that the owner, that the general manager, that the general sales manager, or that any manager within the store can log in and they know or can get a pulse of exactly what's going on real time, individually or as a team, right? So in this case, we started off with like, okay, I wanted to know about marketing, but there are dashboards about marketing. There is a lot of information that you need to piece here and there. But I wanted more of like, okay, what's going on at the dealerships? And we connect to Google Analytics as well. You can look at it, you can analyze it. So this dashboard, what we try to do is to have that single login and that you visualize both CRM and DMS data in one versus DMS data here or CRM data here. Because what ends up happening is, like, whomever runs the report or goes into these systems might run the report differently, or might not know how to run the reports because you need to select the field. So what we did is this real-time application, both for desktop, you can use it in any device, really, even in your app. I use it every single day because it was a solution for us originally. So we go in and you see, you have like, okay, this is a summary of what's going on in sales, service, internet, finance, but then you can drill down to each report, and they're very simple, because it tells you exactly what you're looking for. So how we did it is we went to each of the different managers, directors, and I asked around, what numbers are you looking at? What judges your people, or what judges your department? What judges your team? Or if you have a specific, just like, okay, this is my team versus like the whole dealership, and you can view that. So for me, because I'm a little bit younger, for me it was kind of like, I want a UX, like an experience that whomever it is, if you're older, younger, in between, whatever it is, I want you to get in, and in 2 minutes you need to know exactly what to do in the app. Like, at the end of the day, a car is the second most expensive things that we all purchase. So there's emotions, life milestones, and much more that happen with every brand at every level. I worked with, different types of dealerships, regular retail, luxury, ultra luxury. I think that automotive is constant learning, constant evolution. It's connected to so many industries like finance and the rates, real estate, and if are people moving in and out of the area, to foreign policy because of environmentalism or new regulations, different types of vehicles, to logistics and all the OEM logistics that they do in order to bring the cars from here to there, to trade, and so many industries and subjects that are extremely exciting to whomever wants to get in. But a lot of people also think it's a cutthroat industry, because it is an industry that you literally reap what you sow. You put in the effort, you're highly rewarded. You're lazy, it will not yield to your expectations. So, it's also that, and the opportunity of creating, because there's a lot to create too, because it's so connected to literally everything.